this bill to the House.
The question is that the motion be agreed to.
Mr Speaker.
I call the Honourable Leanne Dalzell.
Mr Speaker, I'm pleased to be standing in support of the final reading of the Fair Trading, Soliciting on behalf of Charities Amendment Bill. But I think I just want to traverse a little bit the history of why we are debating this bill aside from or separate from the review of the whole area of fair trading that is being undertaken at the moment. And I think the bill itself is in front of a select committee, the Commerce Select Committee at the moment, and Jonathan Young's helping me out from the other side of the House and nodding his head. No longer on the Commerce Committee myself, I don't necessarily keep myself up to date with all of the particular goings-on in that committee. And I think it is a shame that the bill is separate from it, because the legislative framework that is now in front of the Select Committee is actually, I think, far more integrated than dealing with things on a piecemeal basis would ever allow. So I think it would have been better to be able to include this in it. However, we were persuaded and we agreed as a Select Committee, and I chaired that committee at the time, at the request of Amy Adams, the sponsor of the bill at that time, to allow this bill to proceed because it had raised a significant amount of concern within the community. And certainly that was reflected in the submissions that we received, but the submissions were not unanimous in the view that they expressed. So we didn't receive from all of the charities a universal support for the approach that the bill was adopting. And I think people were relatively comfortable with going down a regulation-making pathway, which has all of the consultative requirements, as the member has just explained to the House. But they were a little bit concerned about the message that might be sent about certain approaches that were adopted by professional fundraising organisations, totally transparently, but fundraising on behalf of charitable organisations, but expecting a professional share of that for the professional services that they were providing. And I think one of the clearest examples that we had of that was the Greenpeace organisation, where people could in fact be contributing up to a year before the professional fundraising arm of the organisational aspects had been fully recompensed. And then, as far as Greenpeace was concerned, they had a member for life, and it was that ongoing gift of the lifetime contribution to their organisation that actually made the initial contribution worthwhile. And they didn't want to see anything pass through Parliament that actually prevented them from having professional fundraisers being able to operate on that way. And I see that the member's shaking his head, and I know that the legislation is crafted in a way
I'm sorry to interrupt the Honourable Member. The time has come for me to leave the chair. This debate is interrupted and set down for resumption next sitting day. The House stands adjourned until 2 p.m. tomorrow, Thursday the 14th of June 2012. Hari rā po maruye. Good night.